Good evening. This is Robin, your chalk couture designer. It is Sunday evening. It's dark out now. And I haven't been on in a while. And I've been in the studio working on a few things that I've been putting off. And I thought I would come on and share with you some quick little projects that I'm working on. Get that right. I have some canvas makeup bags. And some little felt makeup bags that I've been hoarding, just waiting for the right time to get out here and do some inking. So I thought I would come on and show you all about our inking. What I've got inside, I have some pieces of cardstock shoved down in there so that the ink doesn't bleed from one layer to the other. And I am going to, like I said, I'm going to use ink. You always use ink on fabric and then let it dry for about 24 hours and then heat set it with your heat press and it'll be permanent. I am going to use the Hello Gorgeous on this particular bag and I'm going to use the black ink. So I am going to peel this off the backing. Oops, I guess I got to write on the back of that one. Let me write that. That way I know how to put the carrier sheet, the transfer back on the carrier sheet. The carrier sheet has one side that's shiny and the other side that is paper. If you put the transfer back on the paper side, there's a chance that you're going to ruin your transfer by peeling up the paper, and we don't want that to happen. Now normally excuse my phone, I would fuzz, but because I'm working on fabric, I don't need to fuzz. I want this to stick as much as possible so that there's no bleeding underneath. So I'm going to go ahead and lay down the Gorgeous and I'm going to work out all the air bubbles. And make sure it's adhered really well. And then I'm going to take the Hello and put that right in the center, I think. Actually, you know what? I'm going to come back and do the Hello because I want it to come down just a little bit further here. Now, because I'm working with ink, we do not need to stir like we do the paste ahead of time. So I'm going to go ahead and open that up. Get my squeegee. Now, when you're excuse me. When you're working with ink on fabric, it's not forgivable like the chalk is. The chalk the chalk paste you can erase and redo. The ink, however, is not forgivable, and if it lands on somewhere where you don't want it, it's pretty much going to be stuck there. In some cases, it can be removed if you get to it very quickly, but I'm using black. That's not going to be forgivable at all. You want to start above the silk screen and bring it on down. That's going to help alleviate any bleeding that might be going on. And because you're working on fabric, the ink is going to have a tendency to soak in. So I always go over it a couple of times so I get a nice layer on there. Now, because the ink does not dry as quickly as the chalk paste, you have a little bit more work time. So I'm going to go ahead and dip into my ink and start above the transfer, above the silk screen, and bring it on down. You want to start on the blue and work your way over onto the rest of the transfer. You want to alleviate as many issues as you can in the beginning so that way you get a nice crisp image. Just like so, and I'm going to continue to work over my silk screen, being very careful not to go off the transfer and not to get any on my fingers. That's the other important thing when you're working with ink. You want to make sure you keep your hands clean, because if you touch anything and you get that ink where you don't want it, you're going to be stuck with it. So I'm going to go over it a little bit more just because, like I said, when you're working on fabric, it has a tendency to soak in. Go ahead and run that across like so. And I'm going to pick up my transfer, check my fingers. I do have some ink right here, so I'm going to wash that off. Pick up my transfer and pull that off. And I go kind of slow. Now the ink has to go in the water bath immediately, so I'm going to sneak around the corner and put that in. You don't want that to dry into your silk screening. Alright, so there's the gorgeous part. And now we're going to do the hello part of it. Same process, peel it off the carrier sheet. Now, if I'm going to be brave and not dry this in between, you can dry it with a blow dryer or a heat gun, but I'm going to be careful about where I'm putting my transfer so that I don't go on the wet part. Just like so. I'm going to press that down really good, get out any of the air bubbles. Just like so. Alright, I'm going to pick up my squeegee. Same process. We're going to start off the silk screen and run it right across. Making sure to get all of your letters. And again, I'm doing a little bit of a heavier layer than I would with the chalk paste because I know that the fabric is going to soak in. Work off my excess. Grab your transfer and slowly pull it up. This goes into the water bath. And check your fingers, make sure you don't have anything on. And there's the Hello Gorgeous. I'm going to let this dry for about 24 hours. And then I'm going to heat set it with my heat press and see where the ink did bleed through. So you always want to make sure that you've got something in there to keep it from bleeding. I'm going to hang this up behind me so it can dry. Oh, not so. Well, that was a big no-no. Oh, we're okay. I guess I need to reglue my clip. Alright, so we're just going to set that aside. Let's set that right over here to dry. Alright, now we're going to work on a felt bag, and I just threw that down my shirt. I think we're going to do this in black too, just because I think the black will show up really well. I'm going to do the Actually I Can. Ooh, that wind is blowing. I have a sign on my door over there. If you hear the banging, that's what that is. So I'm going to go ahead and stick. This one I think would be okay because there's a liner inside there. But just in case, I'm still going to take err on the side of precaution. And I'm going to peel my transfer off of my carrier sheet. Again, we're not going to fuzz. We're just going to lay that on there. I want it to stick as much as possible. Really press that down. Now the felt has a little bit of a texture to it, so you really want to work out those air bubbles. like so. All right, because I'm staying with the black, we're just going to reuse our squeegee that we used before. And same exact process. Start on the blue part and work my way across. Now, because this is felt, felt is very porous as a fabric. So I'm definitely going to go over this a couple of times to make sure that it's going to be dark enough, because it is going to absorb into the felt. So again, I'm just going to do another thin layer on top of that. You can actually, you'll be able to see it as it soaks into your fabric, where you need to go back and darken it up a little bit. Okay, I think we're good. I think I got all my spots there. All right, you're going to grab your transfer, pull that up slowly. You do have more work time, like I said, with the ink. You don't have to be in a hurry. Pull that out slowly. This is going in the water bath. Okay. And here we have, take the paper out. This is really cute with the little pom-pom. And there we have our little felt makeup bag. Actually, I can, and again, we're going to let this dry for 24 hours and then heat set it. And I've made a couple others back here. Better late than ugly. And messy hair don't care. So that's what I'm working on. And again, we're going to let that dry, heat set it, and they will be good to go. It'll be permanent once it's heat set. But what cute little bags for makeup, pencils, whatever have you, loose change in your purse. If you want to just grab this and run, throw your wallet in there, you're good to go. Thanks for watching. Any questions, let me know, and we'll talk to you soon. Thanks. Have a good night.